So Motion has just released AI agents, and it has caused a wee bit of a stir, and for good reason. Now, last week I had Louis Carrasco on the show. He's the head of product for Motion, and we did kind of a cursory overview of what these AI employees can do and what they're going to be capable of. But today what I want to do is kind of do a deep dive and show you some use cases, show you how you set them up, and show you just how practical and how valuable these new employees can be inside of your company. So the first question for those of you who are current users of Motion is, how do I access these new agents? Well, on the platform, if you come up to the settings in the top left here, I'm on a developer account, so you're not going to see it on my account. But here on the left, there should be a place for you to upgrade to agents. Now, if you are not a current subscriber to Motion, they have some different tiers that you can access here on the pricing page. We're going to get into this a little bit later in the video, talk about what credits mean and all that. But they've got a level here for pretty much anybody and any size team. So we're going to cover a couple of different things inside of these agents, but what you're going to see on the left-hand sidebar here now is that there's now a place for AI employees. This is what Motion is calling their AI agents. Okay, so if you look here on the left under AI employees, you're going to see a bunch of them. These are all employees that have specific sort of predefined skills inside of them. Alfred handles your executive assistant stuff. Chip handles sales, Clyde handles customer support, and so on and so forth. We're going to be looking at two employees today. The first one is Alfred, and then Suki here at the bottom, the AI marketing associate, because those are ones that I use all the time, and they're also kind of the easiest ones to wrap your head around in the beginning. So if I click under Alfred, what you're going to see is I already have a set of automated skills that are running on my Alfred. I have the meeting coach, the daily meeting prep, and the email assistant. But if we click into add new skill, it will show you a list of all the skills that it has at its disposal. So as I said, executive coach, meeting brief, we've got those for Outlook and for Gmail. And Motion is going to be adding more and more skills as time goes by. These are just the initial ones that you'll have access to. And then, of course, you have the opportunity to create a new skill from scratch. Now, the whole idea behind this is that you don't have to do anything. But if you happen to have someone on your team, or if you happen to be very tech savvy and you know how to design AI agents, you can create your own skills using their own builder. And the builder is actually really cool. I'll dig into that a little bit if we have time. But each one of these skills performs a specific function. So if I come into view Alfred's activity here, you can see all of the things that Alfred has been doing. So in the email assistant, what that is going to do is it's going to go out and it's going to read your emails as they come in. It's going to decide where they need to go and what needs to go kind of in individual boxes inside of your Gmail, like what's important, what's a promotional email. And then if it requires a response, Alfred's going to go ahead and draft a pre-built response for you so that you can then decide if it's something that you want to get in, if it's something that you want to send or not. So let me give you an example of that. So here's an email that I sent out yesterday. It's pretty long-winded email just talking about getting old and needing to kind of focus on the next 20 years of my life. And this is a client of mine who sent me something back. He said, "Hey, thanks, Jason. Do you follow these guys?" And he said, Ben Greenfield, Gary, Ian. He said, they have lots of good stuff to help not get old and rust away as you chronically age. So this was cool, and I didn't have time to respond to this, but the agent inside of Motion went ahead and drafted a response. He said, "Thanks for sending this over. I followed Ben Greenfield's work before. He has some great longevity tips. I'm not familiar with the other two people, so I'll explore that link and the YouTube link you shared. If you have any favorite posts or episodes, send them over, yada, yada." Now, I'll be honest with you. I do not know how Motion knows this, but I am familiar with Ben Greenfield. I am not familiar with the other two people. That's not inside of their ecosystem. All I can figure is that I may have been getting an email from him and not remembering it. And since it has access to my email, it knows that I know who Ben Greenfield is. That's all I can figure that it knows, but it just knows. And that is going to be a recurring theme as well as we continue to go through this, is that because you are inside of Motion's entire ecosystem, It has access to information about you and about your company and about your employees that would not be available anywhere else. And I think for me, it's one of the key reasons why someone should consider moving over to Motion rather than staying with whatever, hodgepodge system they're currently working with. So this is all email stuff, but if I come down here into meeting prep, if you remember, one of the other things that I had available is meeting prep for my meetings. And if I come in here and take a look at one, let me see if I can find the one that I thought was really great. Okay, here it is. Here's the one I was thinking about. So this is a meeting prep from this last Tuesday, I believe. And I had 2 meetings on the books for today. One of them is with a client of mine named Abby, and the other one is for a company that I'm also an owner in called LeadCheck. And what it's doing is every morning it's going and looking at my calendar and saying, okay, what are the meetings on the books? And then what do we need to prep him for? And I want you to pay close attention to how cool this is. So first, it tells me who the attendees are, tells me the location, it gives me a link to the meeting notes. It says the main goal, finalize the email pitch with Abby. She expects the AI to be ready to send the campaign this week. Now, we have been working on a cold email outreach that incorporates AI agents in order to help craft the openers and the bodies of those emails. How does it know that? It knows that, because we'll look at it in a minute, it keeps track of every single meeting that I go to. It records and transcribes all of those meetings, and it keeps track of them from week to week. So it just goes back and it looks at, hey, what did you talk about last week? The week before, what's still hanging, and what do we need to address? She owns a company called Micro Mansions and talks a little bit about this was actually in an email. So in an email, I was having her help me craft the body of the cold email outreach. And I said, I need you to come up with some bullet points. And so it mentions in here all of those bullet points that she referenced in that email. So it's not just looking at previous meeting notes, it's also deep diving into my email correspondence with her as well. So it can create kind of a total package as a complete picture of what we're doing. And then it says, mention Micro Mansion's new RIP floor plan announced in July to show off the show that you're following their progress. So it's just giving me a little tip here. Now, this is the interesting thing. I had no idea that they released a RIP floor plan in July. That I'd no clue. I don't know how it knows that. I don't know if it went and looked on the website. I don't know how deep it went in to go find that information, but that's shocking to me that it knows something about my client that I don't even know about my client and her company, because I'm pretty well versed in my clients. Okay. Now we come down to the second meeting with everybody from the LeadCheck team. It says, ask Cody for an update at Dolphin Pools deal with Jeff Mano. The board meeting was delayed. So we're about to sign a big deal with a major pool provider in the Phoenix area, and they have to get board approval for it. And so we were waiting to hear from the board, but they had to delay that board meeting. And so it's reminding me, hey, update us on that so I know where we're at with that. Follow up on his new demo presentation and discuss Mark, who's another part of the marketing team, his email regarding implementation suggestions for metrics of bid shopping time, right? Which makes no sense to anybody but me. But the point is, this is incredibly valuable to me and to any owner who is dealing with multiple meetings, who may not have talked to someone in several weeks or several months, and who needs to get an update and wants to be refreshed about what we need to be talking about in order to make the most out of the meeting that you're getting ready to go into. Now, if we come into AI meeting notes, let me walk away from this for a minute and let's come back and take a look at AI meeting notes. So this gives you an idea of just the level of information that this platform, that Motion and their AI agents have access to. So I'll come here to the meeting with Gary. Gary is the head of growth at Motion. He and I work very closely together. This was our last meeting. We do it through Google Meet. And what you'll see is that first, the entire meeting is on video. So if anybody on the team or anybody else who wants to know more about what we're doing and wants to follow this, we can share these meeting notes. And basically what we were doing is going over some of the latest features and looking at the product and talking through, okay, what do we want the YouTube strategy to look like moving forward? And if I need to go back and review that, I can watch the video again, or I can send it to any other member of the team. More importantly, the AI keeps this all internally on Motion's platform. I have the attendees, I have the meeting summary, I have all of the action items, and depending on your team, these action items can be auto-assigned by Motion's AI. So if it knows that Susan works in accounting and you needed an accounting report put together on something that was happening, Motion knows and their agents know, oh, that task should go to Susan. Did I say her name was Susan? I don't remember. And say Mark works in sales and he needs to put together a new sales script for the sales team. Well, it knows that he needs to be auto-assigned that task, and based on what you decided inside the meeting, it will automatically do that for you. There are lots of meeting softwares out there and lots of recorders. None of them operate at this scale. This is what's so exciting about this. Then we have all the meeting notes that were taken, and then the full transcript. Now, why is the transcript important? The transcript's important because the Motion employees, the AI employees, read that transcript to help you when you're doing your meeting prep, right? Are you excited about this? Because this is bonkers cool to me. I've never seen something this robust. They have created what is essentially a business in a box, a turnkey business in a box that just operates without a ton of intervention. So with that said, let's jump back into our AI employees. And let's take a look at another employee. Let's take a look at Suki here. Now, if we come in and take a look at her skills, she has a social media listener. Oh, actually, I already have the other one. I have today's inspiration. We have blog writer. We have draft LinkedIn post. We have draft Instagram post and draft Twitter posts. These are all agents that can help you with your social media, which is something I think every founder, as someone inside of every company, if they're smart, they've got somebody dedicated to handling social media. Well, these are all different skills that we can use in order to help us generate that content faster. So let's take a look at today's inspiration. This is pretty cool. So this is the builder. If you want to go in and look at the builder and how it functions, and you can make modifications to it, but it's pretty cool the way they've designed this. It's very clean. If you're familiar with Zapier at all or some of the other AI builders, very familiar workflow to building out the agents. But let's come in here and let's just look at today's inspiration. Let's go ahead and just run this. Now it's going to ask us for some information in here. And I was doing some testing with this last week on artificial intelligence from the futurism.com website. But what you can do with this is plug in your own email or your own website information, and then you can use this to generate content ideas for social media. So if I come back over and we just come back to Motion, go back to the homepage, let's just grab their homepage link and let's just throw it in here. And then it's got some information here that defines what marketing means in context. And you can rewrite this if you want to. It works very well out of the box, so I don't think you'll need to. But then we're just going to click Run the Skill. And what it's going to do is go through a process here of creating a strategic brief, going and doing research on the internet, compiling some of the top stories and how you can use those to integrate and promote your own product or service based on current events. We all know that current events are really important as it relates to getting reach online, especially on social media. And putting this stuff together is going to be extremely helpful for you, not just in coming up with content ideas, but also in getting those seen once you've posted them. So this will take a few minutes. I'm going to come back when it's done and I'll show you the result. Okay, and so it just finished processing, and this is what pops up. It just gives me a list of all of the hot stories of the day. And what's cool is it tells you kind of how to position it for your benefit. So this is a AI coverage from ZDNet, and the hook is Gartner says AI agents will reshape business. We've been building agentic work for years, and there's a title in here and all this information that really just gives you a good starting place on what are the key kind of the key news events for the day and how you can incorporate your brand into it. Now, it also saves this information as well wherever you want. So I have a folder here called Content Ideas, where it puts all of these different content ideas for the day. And then I can just go and draw from the same information that we just looked at just in a file. Now, again, one of the benefits is that all of your AI employees can now access this information if you need them to, right? So let's come back in to our employees again. And let's take a look at the LinkedIn post, the draft LinkedIn post. And I'm just going to go click run now, and it's going to pop up and give me some guy says, hey, what do you want to write about today? And then are there any documents that you want to reference? So let's say that, yeah, we want to write about this latest news article from Microsoft, and then we can link to the document where it gives an outline for the agent and the employee to go and look at. And then it says, where do you want to put the information? Now, we're going to keep this super simple. And I'm just going to say, I want an AI News Digest post for today. Okay, make it super simple. We'll come down. In my little private workspace here, I've got a place called social media content. We're going to put it in there, and we're going to click run skill. And guess what it's going to do? It's going to go out. It's going to do some research. It's going to go through the internet, try and find the latest news items. It's going to craft a series of potential posts for me, and then it's going to drop them into the folder where I can go reference them and take a look, make any corrections I want to, and then post them. So again, this will take a couple of minutes to run, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the result. You're going to be impressed. And there we have it, lightning fast. It took about, I want to say, a minute and a half, 2 minutes for it to go through this process. So we're going to exit out of this. Let's go see what we've got. Let's come into our social media content. Let's take a look at 3 social media posts on productivity amid AI news. So here's one, problem solution style. Look at this. It's the marketing is already built in, authority and insight style, and list or educational style. So let's just read this one. Most professionals miss the real threat to their productivity. Chaos. Today's AI news cycle is a perfect example. Gives you some bullets here. When the world feels like it's on fire, you focus on your focus gets hijacked. Here's the top performers stay. Here's how top performers stay productive. Anyway, I'm a little excited. So also I can't read very well. Authority and insights. After 10 years plus in business, I've learned this: the biggest productivity killer isn't laziness; it's distraction disguised as staying informed. Today's AI news proves it. Charlie Kirk assassinated at a live event, NATO facing unprecedented crisis, 9/11 memorial moves indoors and security. And basically, it's just giving you ideas for content that you can use. And then you can make modifications to this if you want to. You know, you can delete parts, you can add parts, you can do whatever you want to, but it takes you from 0 to, if we're talking about 0 to 10, this takes you from like 0 to 8. And then whoever else is on your team or you can come in, cherry pick the posts that you want, and then go ahead and post them on your own. And it really is kind of an incredible process, incredibly smooth process. Okay. So now let's talk about price and what this costs. If we come back here into our AI employees and we come to Suki and we take a look at her skills activity, we drafted the LinkedIn post. If I click into this, it's going to show me how many credits were used for each one of these. So this is 22, 20, so what is that? 40, this is 50 credits to create these LinkedIn posts. Let's come back to our motion pricing page. And as you can see, most people won't be on the $29 plan just because there's only 1,000 credits there. I think $49 plan is probably the most appropriate for individuals who are using this inside to help manage their own maybe 1 to 3 person business, or the $99 plan. At the $49 plan, you get 10,000 credits at 49 cents per 100 credits. That's about a half a cent. No. It's about half of 1 cent, I believe is what that comes out to, if math isn't exact science, but I think that's pretty close. So if we come back and take a look at this in motion, this was 50 credits. I did the math already. 50 credits, 50 credits times 0.0049 comes out to about 25 cents. So it costs about 25 cents for you to generate that, that response. If we come and look at a couple of other ones, let's go to Alfred. Let's take a look at his activity. The email stuff is nothing. It's like barely, it's like 0.4, 0.3, basically like, 2 credits. It's ridiculous, a couple of cents. And that's all included inside the package. Remember, you're not paying for all of those. You get 10,000 credits for your monthly membership of $49. Now, I sound like I'm trying to pitch you on it. I guess I am, because I really think that this is a fantastic program. So what happens if you're on the $49 plan and you end up going over and you spend your 10,000 credits? Then it's a pay-as-you-go plan after that. You still get access to everything else Motion does. You get access to the project management, documents, all of that other stuff. You're paying for the extra AI employee computation. That's all of the extra. So that's a really nice feature, because what you don't want is you don't want to be using a lot of AI inside of your business and then they bump you up and make you go to the next highest tier. What you want is, hey, I want to stay on this tier. I don't need 3 seats. I just need the 1 seat. And I want to, I just want to pay for the extra credits. And like I said, it's very, very cheap to buy the credits. And then of course, as you go up in price, the credits get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So again, overall, if you are interested in trying this for yourself, which I highly recommend that you do, there is a link down below where you can try it for free. I'm very excited about this. I'm going to have more to show you in the weeks and months to come, but this is a great overview. I hope you liked it. If you did, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll talk to you soon.